Hey guys, Ty Lord here with a pickups video. Got all kinds of fun movies I want to talk about. I've seen all of these, so I have a lot to say. There's stuff I'm adding to my collection that I've wanted. I found quite a few good movies at Rasputin's, all for $1 a piece. I found one I've been looking for. I spent $4 on it. So I think I spent like $13 on all of this. I haven't made a video in a while. My wife and I had COVID. So we were just kind of hiding out for a week, so I couldn't really get out and do much. We're all fine now, though. Thank you. How are you? Yeah, so we got over that. I'm back to work already. But I thought I'd stop by Rasputin's and look through the movies. I always find something different there every week. It's like better than any thrift store. I can't tell you how much I like Rasputin's. It's like it has more videos than any thrift store. They're all $1. There's just like rows and rows and rows of them. Every time I go there, I dig through them, I find something different. Kind of a waste of time and a waste of money. A lot of the stuff I can just watch on Tubi or YouTube even for free, but I kind of like adding movies I like to my collection. Also, it gives me a good reason to talk about them on these videos. I know I said I was going to make a top 10 video game video, but I haven't gotten around to that, being sick and all that. And then I have some other pickups. This isn't even all of my pickups. This is just stuff I found right now. I have some more pickups in a package from Retro T-Barone I need to share. So I might try to make a couple more videos this weekend. Anyway, enough of the intro. Let's get to the movies I found today. I found quite a few that I like. I wouldn't have... There's so many movies I want to spend money on, but I don't. But eventually I find them here at Rasputin's for $1. So I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad I have this place right here. I don't have half-price books or anything like that, or book off or any of that. And the games have been picked over here too at Rasputin's. I got to check every week though. Sometimes I go months without finding anything, and then one day they'll just have a big drop and I'll get all kinds of good games for like 50 cents a piece or $1. I still don't think they really know the value of games the way they price them. All the older games like PS2 and back, they usually only put like $1 or 50 cents on those, and the newer ones, even if they're crappy, like yearly sports games, they have those marked up if they're like PS4 or PS5. But the older stuff, they always have it marked like 50 cents or $1, which is the stuff I want. Okay, anyway, on to the movies though. Here's one I've been looking for. This is one of my favorite movies from my childhood. The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, a Terry Gilliam movie. Probably know him from like the Monty Python stuff or Brazil. All these weird, it's hard to explain the weird style of Terry Gilliam. I don't want to say it's steampunk, but it's sort of steampunkish. Like there's always like weird contraptions, and it's always kind of weird comedy. That weird Monty Python type humor. But this is a fun adventure movie about a little girl that makes friends with Baron Munchausen. He has like a ship and they fly around and have adventures. A lot of cameos in here. Oh, and it has Eric Idle from Monty Python, of course. The main guy is John Neville. I know I've seen him in other stuff. I always get him and John Hurt confused or mixed up. But he's like a fun main character. And then Uma Thurman's in here. She must have been very young, like early 20s. But I remember she really did it for me in this movie. She really got my blood going to places. Uma Thurman in this movie was gorgeous. He played Venus, the goddess Venus. Even Robin Williams has a part in there, but he's not credited on the movie, and I don't see him back here in the credits. But he has a pretty big part. He's a silly character in this movie. It's very heavy, like science fiction, fun little movie. Yeah, highly recommend this. I didn't have this, so I'm glad I have it in my collection now. And here we go with some martial arts stuff that I love. This is going to be an upgrade for me because I had this, but it was one of those really thin, like dollar store. back in the day, Dollar Tree had videos before, and I think they were like the same ones at Walmart. They were really thin case, and like really cheesy, like the cheapest print you could get anywhere. But I had this movie, Breathing Fire, but this is a nice little upgrade. It's one of those nice plastic cases. I kind of have a fancy for these style of cases. The clear plastic ones, they kind of feel like a jewel case. This movie with Bolo Young, I always talk about how much I like Bolo Young in movies. He's a bad guy in this one, cool henchman. The main bad guy in here is Jerry Trimble, the kickboxing champion guy. He's a cool martial arts actor. I like him in pretty much everything I've seen him in. When I was a kid, I thought he was Owen Hart. He kind of looks like Owen Hart, kind of a blonde, like kind of buffed guy. Yeah, the music by Paul Herzog. I think he did Bloodsport music anyway. But you got Bolo from Bloodsport, and it's about these two kids. They're martial artists, and their dad is like a criminal. He's like a bank robber criminal, but they don't know it. And Bolo Young is one of his goons. And they don't really spend much time with their dad, but they respect him, and they have a good relationship, but they don't realize their dad is a criminal. And so they get caught up with all of their thugs, and they're fighting with them. They don't realize that this criminal organization, their dad is the leader of it, and they're getting good mentorship from their uncle. He's also a martial artist, and he's kind of like a homeless guy, but he's a good man, not like their dad. And then at the end, they finally, I don't want to give it away, but this is a fun movie. One of the kids is a Short Round from Indiana Jones. He's like the main character. There's two little brothers, like teenagers. What's his name? The little guy from Goonies, and what's his name? Jonathan Kwan, is that him? The little guy from Indiana Jones and Goonies, kind of more grown up now. I think this is the 90s. So he might be like a teenager. He might even be like 20 years old, but he still looks like he's like 13. But he's a good martial artist too. He has a fight with Bolo at the Yang, and he pulls it off well. Like, it's very believable that a little guy's fighting with Bolo. He has some good moves. I think he's done karate in Indiana Jones too. But anyway, Breathing Fire, fun martial art movie. A fan of anything with Bolo in there. Okay, this is the only one I haven't seen, but you know how I am with shark movies. I gotta collect them all. Three-Headed Shark Attack. This must be the second one. The first one had Brooke Hogan, and it was Two-Headed Shark Attack. I don't really remember much about it, but I did watch it. This one looks like it has Danny Trejo, and I don't know, I'm not sure who this gal is. Karesh Tran. And I can't read this other guy. Who else is in it? Oh, Rob Van Dam is in it. Rob Van Dam, so another wrestler is in there. Oh, okay, I gotta watch this. Three-Headed Shark Attack. In the tradition of Jaws and Deep Blue Sea. Yeah, right. There's one of those sci-fi ones. Directed by Christopher Douglas Olin Ray. I wonder if he's related to Fred Olin Ray that does all of those wonderful cheesy movies. I'm not sure. Okay, speaking of shark movies, here's one of my favorite shark movies. It's always been one of my favorites, and this is a double, so I might give this away or see if it's an upgrade. I doubt it is. I just had to pick this up because one of my favorite shark movies outside of Jaws. Shark Attack in the Mediterranean. It's a solid, like, Jaws ripoff. Like, nothing super out of the ordinary, like three-headed shark or flying sharks or sharknadoes. It's just a great big shark, 35 feet long, terrorizing a community. Pretty much in the same vein as a Jaws movie. Kind of feels like a low-budget Jaws movie. And it has a lot of action, too. It goes, like, into the mafia ties that were in the Jaws novels, stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of kind of like action and man-on-man, human-on-human fight action on top of the shark. There's like crooked mobsters and crooked law enforcement or the mayor or whatever. So it has a lot of that stuff that was excluded from the Jaws movies that were in the books, stuff like that. And the main guy is Ralph Moeller, that great big buff bodybuilder guy. You probably have seen him in Cyborg, and he was the bad guy in Best of the Best 2. This guy, I don't know, this guy Ralph Moeller. He's like German. He has like a German accent, and he's a great big buff bodybuilder. You usually see him in a lot of action movies. He's the main lead. So there's a lot of action, a lot of. I don't remember much about this shark. It's probably CGI, but I remember I liked the look of the shark, and I liked mostly everything about this movie from 2006. Shark Attack in the Mediterranean. I think it's an Italian movie. It's set in Spain, but I'm pretty sure it's in Italian. I think it's dubbed. But it's a fun movie. One of my favorite shark movies. More Jaws-sploitation type stuff. Crocodile. This is another one of my favorite Jaws ripoffs. I guess you could call them Jaws-sploitation or creature feature. This is Tobe Hooper, the directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Boy, did he go downhill from like doing some of the biggest movies down to these like really low budget. But man, this is fun. This is one of the funnest. This might be right behind Alligator for me with Robert Forster. This is really fun. The teens are out on the river or lake, and they're being terrorized by a giant alligator, crocodile. Yeah, really fun. I think it's a lot of crappy CGI, but this is like a fun creature feature right here. And then, here's another one I haven't seen, but I like the first couple of them. I thought this is a good deal. Charles Band's Puppet Master 4. Looks like there's all kinds of different creatures that weren't in the little monsters that weren't in the first one. Oh, I see the little spike head guy. Who's the... Oh yeah, this little guy was in the first one too. Some of these look like predators or aliens. Anyway, but this is directed by Jeff Burr, who I'm a fan of. He did, I guess he does a lot of failure sequels, but I tend to like them, like Pumpkinhead 2, which is my favorite Pumpkinhead, directed by Charles Band, Jeff Burr. And also he did Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Leatherface, which I really like. A lot of people don't like that one, but I like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3 by Jeff Burr. And I think he did a couple of these Puppet Masters, so I got to check this one out. Okay, I had to get this one, 12 movie urban action pack. And I don't know any of these movies, but the one that caught my attention was On the Edge, directed by Fred Williamson, starring Fred Williamson. It's got Ice-T in there, but he just plays a small part. He was probably marketable. I don't know why Fred Williamson's not head front and center. I guess maybe Ice-T is more of a well-known name, but he just has a small part. It's kind of a funny little part, but the big star of this one is Fred Williamson, and Gary Busey's the bad guy. It's probably post brain damage. Gary Busey, because he's really weird as usual in this one. And it's like, what is this, 2006 or something? I don't know, but Fred Williamson's still a stud. He's got to be like in his 60s by this point, and he's still like pounding young women and doing action scenes. And then Bernie Casey, who I mostly know is he plays Felix Leiter in Never Say Never Again, the James Bond movie. He's kind of has a big part in this, and the guy from Superfly, I can't think of his name. Bernie Casey it's kind of like kind of sad at the beginning. Bernie Casey's son and wife get murdered because they get a hit put on them because they confuse the two kids. One kid owes money to drug dealers, and they go to the wrong house and they kill Bernie Casey's kid and kill and rape his wife. So it's kind of like a revenge story for Bernie Casey's character. And Fred Williamson's in the mix. Like, he knows the kid. He's trying to straighten the kid out that actually owes the money. And yeah, just kind of goes on from there. But oh, the thing I like about it too is it's part of a series with Fred Williamson. He always plays the same guy. He's a Detective Dakota Smith. I like quite a few of those movies. I think I've seen all of them but one. One of them has Cynthia Rothrock in it. And this one might even have Jim Brown, I think. Yeah, Jim Brown. So it kind of has a lot of the same cast from the original Gangsters. Anyway, but I haven't seen any of these other ones. Little Red Blast, Donovan's Echo, A Little Trip to Heaven, White Elephant, or Elephant White, Black Ops, Rhapsody, The Girl from the Naked Eye, Contract with Morgan Freeman and John Cusack, Sacrifice with Christian Slater and Cuba Gooding Jr. So I don't know if these are good. King of the Avenue. So I don't know about any of these other ones. Anything with Fred Williams. I'd rather have a standalone copy of On the Edge, but that's the only way I can get it. I think it's on Tubi. Oh, here's another one. Speaking of Ice-T, here's another movie with Ice-T right on the cover, but he has a small part. This has a really good cast and a really good director, Albert Pyun. I've talked about him before. Cyborg, the old Captain America, Kickboxer 2, Kickboxer 4, one of my favorites, Heat Seeker, Nemesis, Nemesis 1, 2, and 3, Knights with Kathy Long and Chris Christopherson, all kinds of, a lot of my favorite old, like, 90s straight-to-video. Albert Pyun movies are very beautiful, and this is no exception. It looks like a music video, like the coloring and the lighting and everything, and the cinematography, and this is gorgeous. Crazy Six. This guy, Rob Lowe's character, his name is Crazy Six. He's like a total loser. He's like a drug dealer. It takes place in like an Eastern Bloc, like former Soviet country. I don't know if it's supposed to be like in the future or whatever, but they're just like, everything's run by gangs and drug gangs, and there's two big gang leaders. One of them's Ice-T and one of them's Mario Van Peebles, and Mario Van Peebles plays a funny part in here. He always has his little chihuahua, so he kind of plays a good part, but the lighting and everything in this movie is so good. Burt Reynolds plays a cop. He's probably one of the coolest characters. He's like a Texas cowboy cop, and he's in Europe. It doesn't make any, I don't know, like he's like an old veteran cop. He's like a Texan, like a badass Texan guy, but he's in Europe. Yeah, the main guy's Rob Lowe, and he has like a drug problem. He'll sell out anyone just to get a fix on this drug. But he's like the main character. He meets this girl that's a singer at a bar, and they kind of fall in love, and she's clean, and she wants him to go clean, but he's just so addicted to this drug. And he owes the gang leaders are out to get him. The movie kind of just is a eventless movie. It just kind of goes on and on. There might be a couple of highlights, but kind of has cool, quirky characters like Ice-T and Burt Reynolds, and oh, another guy I like in here. One of my favorite actors is in here. He's always in a lot of Albert Pyun movies. Tom Matthews. He's probably like one of the only likable characters in this. Tom Matthews from Friday the 13th Part 6, and he's in a lot of kung fu movies I like. Yeah, he has a cool part in this. Yeah, but this is a gorgeous movie. Like I love the style of Albert Pyun's movie. They look like music videos or something. Oh man. Okay. The last two here, I'll not finish with this one because it's kind of depressing. Dustin Hoffman and Jon Voight in Midnight Cowboy, classic movie. Can't beat it for $1. They say $1.95, but everything's marked down to 95 cents now. Midnight Cowboy. Jon Voight, he's like kind of a naive, like handsome cowboy from a small town, and he thinks he's gonna make it big in the city by being like a male prostitute, like selling himself to hot women. Like he thinks he's gonna make a fortune going to New York. he goes there. New York is freaking gross. I'm sure it's gross now, but man, it was really gross back in the 60s. Like all these dilapidated buildings and homeless everywhere and gross. It might still be like that if it's anything like California over here. But man, he tries to get women to pay him, and then he ends up not getting paid by them, and he can't get any money. He ends up being like a gay prostitute. Like he ends up getting a pimp, and he ends up being so destitute he has to take out men on dates. But he meets his little buddy. He was kind of like his manager or what. He made friends with Dustin Hoffman's like a little con artist, a guy. He kind of ripped him off, but they became buddies, and they ended up living in this nasty, broken down apartment building, leaky, gross. This movie's so gross, but they have like a little friendship, and they become friends, and they're so destitute. They just like go to these drug parties just to eat the food. It's such a depressing movie. But it's really well made. I would give it a watch. It's a movie you gotta watch. I think the director even committed suicide. It's such a depressing thing. But one of the main reasons I like it is the score by John Barry. A really beautiful score. Like, you know, I'm a fan of John Barry, the composer. I pretty much have a favorite movie genre, and that's any movie that has a John Barry score. There are all kinds of different movies, but I usually go after anything that has a John Barry score. And I actually like to listen to this soundtrack. It's a beautiful like harmonica. It sort of has the same chord progression as You Only Live Twice, but it's played with a harmonica. And there's some good little tracks, music tracks in this by John Barry. Yeah, there's Midnight Cowboy. Okay, here's another one. John Barry does the music. Peter Hyams, I never get his name right, directed this one. I like his movies. Hanover Street. I think I've talked about this before. I think I bought this one online because I couldn't find it for like $5 or $10. Here it is at freaking Rasputin, so I had to get it. I might give it away to someone if anyone's interested. Sorry about this sun coming down. Harrison Ford's in here. The girl is really beautiful. Leslie Ann Down. It's the love interest. Christopher Plummer's in here. Really good role. A really good role from all these guys. This is pre-Indiana Jones, but it kind of foreshadows a lot of stuff from Indiana Jones in this movie. Like, it's high adventure. It's set during World War II, actually. I think, yeah, Indiana Jones were set during World War II. So he's like fighting Nazis, and he's on like a motorcycle with a sidecar with Christopher Plummer. Kind of reminds me of with him and Sean Connery in Last Crusade. They're going on an adventure. They're like spies going in. Christopher Plummer can speak German. He's an English officer, but he can speak German, and he's going undercover as a Nazi officer to go steal files from an archive building or something. Little does he know, the guy that his pilot that he's on the mission with, Harrison Ford, is pounding his wife. This is Christopher Plummer's wife, and they like fall madly in love. And the sad part is, like, Christopher Plummer is like a good dude, like he's a good husband and a good father, but somehow these two like hit it off so much. They meet on Hanover Street. That's the title. During like the Nazis bomb the place, and in the end he ends up rescuing her from a burning building. They fall in love. So he's pounding her every weekend, and she's cheating on her husband. And he doesn't even know who her husband is, but they end up going on a mission together, and they become friends. So it's like a really a little dilemma right there. But this is a really good movie. Like I say, he's like kind of I have like a young adventurous guy. Like he's Christopher Plummer's kind of like down to earth, or like kind of like not quick to get into fights or whatever. And Harrison Ford's like typical Indiana Jones, like going in there and slugging it out or shooting it out. Anyway, Hanover Street, cool movie. And that's about it. I'll talk to you guys later with my other pickups, and maybe we'll talk about some video games. Later.